on a brothership united.
Where my fellas at?
Sistahship, we got this on a brothership.
Sistahship, we got this on a brothership united. Hey, everybody. This is your girl, Steph Fire. This is the Sistahship Network right here. Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Never miss us. This is the beginning of 2022. It's all about you. That's right. And I'm just gonna quickly put this here. Hey, beautiful, you can do amazing things. That's right. You can. It's 2022. It's all about you. Hello. It's all about you this year. So with that said, today's show, we have amazing guests on. We have our Brothaship team. We have the Sistahship team. It's mind-blowing today, okay? Because this is the first show of the new year. So 2020. What we wanted to do is get in this and really talk about the elephant in the room. We call it the cuss out. Now let's just say we're going to be appropriate. If we want to cuss somebody out, we're going to say the cuss out. Just know that we keeping it real. Just saying. Just saying. But with that said, we know we've gone through a lot of things over the past 2 years, a lot of emotions, turmoil, positive things that came out of it. But before we go any further, I want to quickly just shout out Mama C, the Oracle, the Queen Ager, the founder of the Sistahship Network. It is her birthday today, and we want to give you a special shout out, Mama C. We love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
I'm sure she's basking in her glory right now, and she will be in the chat room. So anybody who has any comments, please go ahead and put them in the chat room. We will answer any questions you have. But what I'd like to do is make sure we go around the room because we want to introduce our amazing guests and, of course, reintroduce the Sistahship Network as well. So I'm going to start with Onika because she's the first one to my left. Onika, go. Hello, Miss Lady.
Hi, hey everyone. Happy birthday, Mama C. Well, I'm Onika, aka Miss Not Nice. That's my name.
Miss Not Nice.
The cuss out.
The cuss out. Well, I'm happy to be here. A little background of me. I am from the Barrow family. Big up to my Barrow family. Hi, everyone. I also a clean company called Clean Kitchen, which we clean mostly Airbnbs. That's what we specialize in, and commercial properties. And I just like to cuss people out. I'm just playing.
We'll explain that cuss out a little later, but thank you.
A little later.
Anika Not Nice. Is that what it is? I like that.
Yes,
I like that.
Anika Not Nice.
Let's move on to our girl Sharice. Now I'm going to give you a little bit, just a tad history. Sharice, she was on the Sistahship Network last year, and believe it or not, last year, this time, she was on Matters of the Heart as well, right here on the Sistahship Network, and with obviously Darren Johnson as well. Sharice, welcome back. We love you. Come on in, She Wealth. What you got?
Thank you for having me. My name is Sharice. I'm with She Wealth, which stands for Savvy, Sexy, Healthy, and Empowered. Ooh. I am a licensed cosmetologist and financial advisor. So with the two of those professions, I help people and their finances look absolutely marvelous and everything in between.
Love it, love it, love it. You have to look marvelous if you're going to be nice and wealthy, aren't you?
Exactly. And you have to be healthy. Like, what's the purpose? If you're not healthy, then it doesn't matter how much money you have, right?
Got that right. Mm-hmm. Point well taken. With that said, thank you, Sharice, for coming back on. We love you.
Thank you,
Doris Johnson. Woo! Everything Doris. Let's talk about Doris.
Let's talk about her. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we
fine.
can. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, we can.
It's really hard to talk about myself. I have a master's in psychology, so I'm not practicing right now. I was a therapist for autistic children, novelist, blogger, designer, advocate, just a whole lot of things. And I am the queen of sarcasm.
Love it.
Love it.
You all laughing. I haven't even been sarcastic yet.
So this is the
Because
reason
we
why
all
this
know you
panel.
from.
Go ahead, Tiffany Co.
No, I said because we all know her from Dear Ex Doris. That's why we laughing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to say you got to see her blog. She's on every Monday and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time on the Sistahship Network. I'm telling you, you got to listen in. Got to listen in. And perfect. As you can see, this is the reason why we have them on for the Cuss Out Show, The Elephant in the Room, because there's truth is power, right? So with that said, let's go back to. Let's talk the Brothaship. We've got Darren Johnson. Hey, Darren.
Hey there. How are you doing?
Introduce yourself, Mr. Jersey.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Darren Johnson, aka DJ Jersey. I'm a lot of things. I have my hand in a little bit of everything. I'm in the corporate world. I've been doing that. I have a background. I've done it all. Everything from supply chain to customer service to consulting. That's what I do. That's my day gig. So I'm happy with that. I get to travel around pre-COVID and provide business solutions to customers. Outside of that, I'm an investor. Been really good in the financial and capital markets. This past year, I taught myself how to play the options game, and at the first half of the year, I think I made like a 30% return on all of my option calls, which is pretty good considering that that doesn't normally happen. I got involved in the Brothaship at the behest of the Sistahship because we thought that we would need a voice for a diverse group of gentlemen speaking truth to power, and that's a good lead into the next gentleman that you're going to hear from, because he and I have been friends for 45 years. Now, I know you don't look it, but that's a long time being friends. So I'll stop there.
Bruce trying to look young over there. All right, Bruce.
It's getting harder and harder every day. How are you all? My name is Bruce Berry. As Darren said, we've been friends for over 45 years. Wow. I mean, it really does seem like we met each other 10 years ago, but you know, we've been in it for a while. I'm a retired educator, teacher in the Newark Public School system. I'm a coach now. I coach at Rutgers University, Newark campus, coach track and field. I was blessed to have a storied track and field career, which paid for my undergrad, which paid for my grad school. But now it's just about giving back. It's about trying to prepare these young men and women for what this world holds for them. You know, pretty straightforward as a coach. Been pretty successful as a coach. Some people don't like my style of coaching, and guess what? Pick something else. It's like Darren says, if you're going to friend him on his Facebook page, then be prepared for what he says. If you don't like it, unfriend him. That's pretty much the way it is, you know. I know what I can do as a coach, and I know the people I've helped and the success. I've coached 2 Olympians. So I know it works. It's right lemonade for me. But again, this is why I love the elephant in the room, because it's the cuss out. I ain't gonna cuss, but you can get it out and keep it 100. And you know, I think if you're brutally honest with people, especially this younger generation, and you keep it 100, they may not see it in the first week, month, or year, but down the line they will. And you don't know how many phone calls and things I've gotten back from people, from kids, ex-athletes saying, "Coach, you know, what you said to us, such and such and such and such, I see it now, it works. And I'm teaching my kid that way. I'm teaching my athletes that way." So that's the reward of it all. So that's what it is. I'm here.
Thank you, Bruce. The Brothaship. Now, we can't go any further without Tiffany Cobling. So, Tiffany, Now she's got it all, you know, she's got the technology piece, whatever we all have issues, I'm gonna give it to her.
I am just the back end. I do the back end work for the Sistahship and the Brothaship. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I do have a day job as well. More so my focus is on nails, but I am multi-talented in cosmetology, so I can do it all. Oh gosh. I mean, I try and stay out of the box. So a lot of times they say, you know, you can't do it all. You gotta figure it out of what you're gonna do. But I try and master what I know I can do and what is not for me. It's not my lane. I stay out of that lane. So a lot of the times I don't like the front of the camera, but this crew here seems to think that I need to be on camera. So they get me on it every now. They get me on it every now and then. But I actually like the back end of everything. Today is all about our guests and the cuss out.
Yep.
A lot of my posts have been like the cuss out. Everybody thinks that I cuss people out, but I really don't cuss people out. But you know, I like to have fun and joke around on Facebook, and some people take it serious. Some people say, she's, you know, whatever. Hey, take it for what it is. Again, if you don't know a person, you can't make a judgment unless you really know a person. And it's all fun and games. And hey, there's a lot going on in this world. We can continue to laugh and make each other laugh without being so serious all the time. And that's what it's all about for me. Fun, making sure that we get the work done. And just like Darren said this morning, what was that, Darren, that we have to pray for? What was it, Darren?
Truth.
Pray for
truth.
What did you say in your, right? Pray for truth and just listen and let it come to you. And that's exactly what I look to do every day.
And I love the fact, and I just want everybody to know that Tiffany Coe started the cuss out. Just saying, she started the cuss out. So talk about truth to light, truth to power. Again, my name is Stefire. Just quickly, supply chain specialist, you know, guru for over 20 plus years, lead host of the Sistahship Network, came in early last year. I've evolved and changed through the years. I learned so much every single year. And the cuss out is near and dear to my heart because I've been through, as anybody else has been through, many challenges, many experiences with people, places, things that I feel is important, that not only does it hold me accountable, but others as well. And we all are about, you know, the light of truth and power. So with that said, we getting in it. So explain to me, and I'll start actually with Sharice. I'm going right to the center. Center. Sharice, Miss She Wealth, what has the last year, when you think about the cuss out, when you think about the elephant in the room, what are some of the things that come to mind that you've experienced over the past year that makes you say, you know what, I need to call out the elephant in the room, and they get the cuss out?
So is this business wise, personal?
We can go personal, and then we can get into business, because I think there's two pieces, right? It's how you operate in a business environment, because I think we all know there's a balancing act. We do. There's business and there's personal. I think our personal experiences are enlightening for others who are also dealing with the same experiences. And then there's the business element and how you operate in that environment in situations that are not beneficial for you or anybody else in that space. So let's talk about that personal space, and then we can get into the business.
So for the personal space, going into 2021 from 2020 helped me realize that a lot of things weren't important, and a lot of people didn't get that they were supposed to make certain changes in their life. So for those of us who stepped up and made those changes and said, you know, this is what I'm going to be about, doesn't make the other people bad, but then they started throwing the shade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shade room.
Yes. And I'm like, you know, just because you decided that you weren't going to do it, don't throw shade on me. You know, I made up my mind. COVID showed me a whole bunch of stuff that I needed to get right, and I did the work, you know? So the shade came personally, And I just continue to press on. And you know what? It's hurtful at the same time, because these are people that you would think that, you know, you'd be like ride or die forever or what have you, or they had the emotional intelligence to be able to carry on, and they did not. And I flat out and told them, I was like, when ish hits the fan and gets crazy, y'all can't come to the compound, because I will have to shoot your kneecaps out, because you will get us killed. So you know, I had to put some people in their perspective rows, and everybody can't be in your front row, and that's just the bottom line. Especially if they're throwing tomatoes.
That is so true.
Switch lane.
Switch lane.
That shade is, I think we've all experienced some shade when we're changing and evolving and things of that nature. I don't know why that is, but you know, it is what it is. And to your point, non-essential, keep it moving, you know?
Exactly.
So with that said, I'm going to actually hit Doris up, because I want to know Doris got a lot to say. I know she got a lot to say. Doris, your experiences, your personal perspective on this whole cuss out the elephant in the room.
I'm sorry, I missed part of what you said because I have a bad connection. So could you repeat yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we're hitting right now from a personal aspect. What are some of the things over the course of the last year or two that you've identified that was the elephant in the room that deserves your cuss out?
Come on, Doris.
It's not enough time for all this.
I know that.
I'm going to keep it very
What's
basic.
the top of the list?
No. Bring it.
Top of the list. People. The people who have been in my circle, I had to reduce it. Once COVID hit, I began to learn who was there and who wasn't. I lost some friends, and I even made some new friends along the way. So that was the biggest thing right there. And they still try to reach their hand out of the grave, and I just kick it back in, because sometimes you need to make a clean break.
That's an interesting thing. I think that to your point, that experience, and you know, it doesn't have to always be negative, right? It doesn't always have to be because I reduced people. There weren't other people that enlightened you or helped with your growth and wanted to be a part of that circle that inspired you, or you inspired, that, you know, came with you on the ride, right? Coming into the new year. So I love that, because there is that positive element and that balancing of the scales that comes with that. Oh, Nika. I'm not even going to call you by that. What was it? What was that tag name?
Not nice.
Not nice. Let's talk.
Not nice.
Girl, I truly lived up to my name. I cut a lot of people off. All you need to do is just one thing or one slip up, and I'm done. I don't need to explain anything to you, anything like that. What I don't get with people, like when you're keeping your distance, people think you got animosity against them or you hold no grudge. What people don't understand is a peace of mind.
Yes.
That's what it is. Just I was told once I cannot fix something, throw it to the universe and let it deal with it. And that's what it does. Peace of mind. That's my whole thing. So I'm not going to
protect your peace.
Yes, I am protecting my peace. There's too much out there. A lot of people is not who to say that, oh, I don't got time to figure it out. I don't got time to teach nobody nothing. I'm not a teacher. God didn't give me a job or a role or anything like that. I'm sorry. It may sound mean, but to each their own. And everybody have to be held accountable for what they do and how they treat people. That's it.
Girl, speak the peace of mind. Speak the peace of mind. You know, and some people don't even know themselves enough to know what they're doing, you know, or are still learning themselves. I say I'm evolving every single day, every single year. Like I'm, you know, it's an evolution. You're never, if you're stagnant, if you're sitting in one place all the time, you're stagnant. If you're not learning and experiencing life and the people around you, you are stagnant. You are not learning. You're not evolving in life. So I love that, because there are going to be those instances where you realize that journey that you're on, some people ain't coming.
Is that
Some people ain't coming. There's a time and place for everything. And some of those people are not coming on that journey. They are there for a period of time and space. So I love that. It's protecting your peace as well. And you have to learn that sometimes. Sometimes we allow people to just be in that space and continue to like harp on things and create that negative energy all the time, or always judging, or always, constantly being after you about something rather than the positivity. Time to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
one thing I don't understand when it comes to family? Forgive and forget your family. Blood is thicker than water. But my thing is, without water, there's no blood. Because in our body, we need water, right? So that whole blood is thicker than water stuff, look, to each their own. Everybody's going to be held accountable for whatever y'all do. That's because when God come down, I cannot answer for nobody else. I cannot say, God, Sapphira cussed out this person but forgive her. No, I can't do that. Everybody has to answer for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's an element of healing that everybody has to go through. Why they
true.
are the way they are, why they treat people the way they treat people, why the focus is so on them, and taking that negative energy and throwing it on everybody else. There's that element of healing, and we talk about that on the Sistahship. Is there's and the Brothaship, because you guys obviously go through your own stuff. There's time and space, and there's healing for people. Sometimes they're just not ready to be in that aura, right? Or they're not ready to heal, or they're not ready to take accountability for themselves and what they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And it's just deflecting that energy. So there's opportunities for people, right? In this grand old world and life that we all live. But I want to head it over, because Miss Cuss Out over here, she got stuff to say, but I want to start with the Brothaship over here, because she started this whole thing that we on, this journey that we on for 2022. I want to make sure I had the right.
It's all about you.
Pointing to the right person, but I want to go to Bruce. Bruce, with again, your personal experiences over the course of the past year or two. What are some of the things that you feel you need to call out from the elephant in the room and the cuss out? And need the cuss out.
No, bottom line, it's accountability, it's ownership. Especially when this whole COVID ugliness reared its head. Nobody wanted to make a decision. Being a coach on a collegiate level, things start with the president and rolls downhill to the athletic director, rolls downhill to the coaches, and rolls downhill to the athletes. Well, nobody wanted to make a decision. Are we going to have a season? Or are we not going to have a season? What are the testing protocols? And then we look to Big Brother, the NCAA, and they can't make a decision. Nobody wants to pass the buck because nobody wants to be responsible. It's ownership. Own up to it. We tell our kids, I tell my student athletes all the time, look, prepare for the consequences. You want to hang out, you want to do this, you want to do that. You got to work out. This is when your performance goes bad. Don't come with your tail between your legs to me. Own it. Because if you do the right thing that we ask you to do, and you're successful, you're going to be jumping around and gallivanting and celebrating. But don't come to me with your tail between your legs when it doesn't work out. Take ownership of it. Mm-hmm. We're afraid in society to fail because society. We need how many likes we can get, how many listeners can we get, how many people. You're getting likes from strangers you don't even know. But when someone you care about or cares about you tells you something and the truth, you get screw faced with them. What are you talking about? But a person can tell you that you don't even know halfway across the world, like what you said on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and they basking in their glory. No, take ownership. Stop. I'd be like, stop bull crapping. Stop. So that's my biggest thing. It's taking ownership. It's man up, woman up. That's my whole thing for that.
Big girl panties on.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. Put your big girl panties on. Put your big boy drawers on.
And it's funny that Bruce said that because a lot of people look at likes. They look at likes. I had someone tell me, "Oh, well, it's about the likes." I said, "Really?" I said, "It's really not about the likes. So sometimes if you look on Instagram, we don't get a lot of likes. We don't get, but on our back end, we see the analytics. We see what's really happening. So sometimes on my page, I don't look for likes. I could get, I don't, I mean, hey, whatever, because that's not what it's about.
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, that stuff really doesn't make you or break you, because if you just reach one person, your
Right.
job is done, regardless to whatever's out there, whatever everybody is saying. Your job is done because there is somebody listening. And like Lady Wisdom, who's not on here today, but she would say it's a silent audience. When we go to those back numbers on the analytics, those back numbers speak volume. So we don't worry about the likes that are being put out or who's liking what. It's the analytics that we're seeing. So if you can read those numbers, then you know you're doing something right.
You make a really good point, Tiff. And this is the other thing about the product of the Sistahship, is that, we all are about, we try to bask in this whole positivity, and, we have accountability as well. We talk, we try to keep it as real as possible, right? And to your point, it's not necessarily the likes or, somebody commenting so much, as in, is the message getting out to the people who need to hear it, right? That's the messaging, really. And that's why we have the guests that we have on. That's why we have the wisdom of those who are the hosts of the show. We have Mama C, who's, we have the Queenagers, we have the Brothaship. The reason for this is really so that we can reach people who need to hear the message that is for them, because not everybody can receive a message that's they're not ready to receive, and not everybody can receive a message that is not for them. But eventually it will hit somebody at some point in time that need to hear that message, or need that inspiration, or need that accountability, or need whatever ownership. We can't empower anybody, right? We don't empower anybody. We give you an opportunity to empower yourself. You have to empower yourself with all those elements that we just discussed. I heard ownership, I heard accountability, I heard peace, protecting your peace, taking care of yourself, all the elements that really, from a healing perspective and from a health perspective, mental, emotional, physical,
absolutely,
financial, that is all the things that we need to focus our energy on, versus all this negativity that's thrown out there, because it's there to distract you and to deflect from what really needs to be done and what really is going on. So, Miss Cuss Out.
Oh, Jesus. I think we lost Doris, but Doris, if you dare just jump back on, we'll get you back in the room. Yes, ma'am, Stephia.
I'm just saying, you started the cuss out.
I did. I started the cuss out. I started the reason
Let me
why
drink my
I started
water.
it real quick. 2019 started up to COVID up to now. It has been a challenge. This is Mama C's baby. Okay. This was something that I just kind of fell into, and happened to be able to know the technology to make it go further. And it's been a challenge with, just in general, with people, with what we're doing, with all the opinions and how we should be doing, instead of people jumping in to maybe help or make it even better with the things that are going on. And sometimes you start to question yourself, like, what am I doing? So it became like, there were times where it was like, you know what? Maybe just forget this. But it was all of you that was like, nope, you got to keep going. You got to do this, because it was so much coming at me from people that it was like, you got to be kidding me. So with that said, I was like, you know what? We can't do this to each other, because the world is already in turmoil. The world is already being separated. So we got to come together. So we say stronger together. So even we had Sharice, right? Sharice was with us, and Sharice was going through a lot. She was on the team. She's still reunited. And I'm just going to say the cuss out. Why? Because when Sharice left, we got a whole bunch of, what happened? Oh, whatever. They kicked her off. You hear all this negative stuff. Nobody, whatever. You don't hear the good. Well, maybe she took time for herself. maybe this, that, and the other, third. You get all of the negative response. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody ever thought maybe, you know, they had just lost a brother, stuff was going on, what was what. Nobody thinks of the positive stuff. Everybody's just like, oh, yep, they can't work with them. They can't do it. Was just so much going on. That's like, really? You know, and then you're trying to build and work together, and we tear each other down in the process of doing it. And I was like, I just can't anymore. We tear each other down while we're trying to build. We tear each other down, whether it be, oh, are you paying me? Or whatever. We don't work together to make it stronger. We try to rip each other down with, oh, I could do it better. So I'm going to go over here, or I'm going to break off and I'm going to do it this way because I could do it better. Yet, they don't do anything. You know, they want to talk about what you're doing wrong, but have the same opportunity to do what you're doing, but want to talk about what you're doing wrong. But we've been going 2 years strong, and we're still going, but it's been heavy. And I think heavy on all of us, but heavy because of what the challenge is. I mean, Stephia, I've talked to Onika, I've talked to whatever, like, you know, I mean, the stuff that I've gone through with just in general, I had to question myself, like, am I right? Or just, you know, maybe I am doing this wrong. Can you direct me? So I have other mentors and other people that I talk to make sure I'm not coming off the wrong way. And then Terry Pickering, who is part of Genesis Radio, you know, he'll say, let's agree to disagree. So when it's time to just agree to disagree now, I'm like, you know what, just walk away. You do what you do, I do what I do, and we'll separate and do and make it work. Because if we can't work together, let's not rip each other apart.
Yeah. I think that's the maturity aspect. I think you make a good point there. I think the level of maturity it takes to separate yourself from a situation without crashing each other is something that you learn through time. And, you know, we can say, you know, we were immature at one point. We would call, you know, talk about this, talk about that. But at the same token, when you mature and evolve, you start realizing it's not worth the aggravation. You just need to kind of agree to disagree and separate yourselves from that situation and just keep it moving, right? Do you, I do me. It is what it is. That's life. Not everybody's going to agree with you.
Emotional.
But again, you always have to have people around you who you can go to as mentors and say, do you think because you can't do it alone.
Right.
You still need to have people around you because you just might be doing it wrong, you know? But if you have more than one person agreeing with something that you're saying, then you're probably doing it right. You know, so if that's the case, then you can't worry about what other people are saying and how you're making the moves that you are making, because the other person on the other end may not agree with you. But I always say, if you got one person, you may be wrong. But if you got 5 people saying the same thing, you're on the right track.
That also goes to accountability. When you have a situation where so many people are telling you the same message, but yet you're saying there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing I don't have no opportunities or whatever have you. But all these people is consistent. There's not that dichotomy of thought amongst people. It's just the same messaging. Then there's also that accountability piece for yourself as well. You know, when I think about that in my business environment with my job, you know, I was just doing my annual review. And I was going through pretty much my previous reviews, and I started going through what were some of the development opportunities that I needed for me from a manager perspective, as well as what I do for my job. And I looked at it from a leadership perspective, because to me, I want to be the better leader, right? I want to be the best leader for my team. And what were some of the things or feedback that I had to consider to be better, right? And take that and move forward and developing and learning from others who are giving me that constructive feedback, so that I can take it and start, you know, molding myself into what I need to be productive in that environment. So, I mean, you know, the mentors that you have throughout your life, I mean, those are important people. Darren, I know with you from a leadership standpoint, even in the business environment, even Bruce, I mean, everyone here has the ability to mentor others. I see what you guys do. I watch, and I'm honored actually to be on the same panel with you guys, because I do see the growth in every single person, and I do see how I'm inspired by every single person here as well. And it's teaching me things that, you know, I needed to learn as well. So with that said, Darren, you know, we talk about good leadership, and this is about, you know, the elephant in the room, and the cuss out, and, you know, how we see leaders, and leaders of a country, leaders in the workplace. Let's get into that, because I think Onika also has some thoughts on that, and I would love for Sharice as well, and Bruce, to come in on that conversation. What are your thoughts?
On leadership, or just the cuss out?
Leadership in general, and the accountability piece, right? The elephant in the room from a leadership standpoint.
Okay. All right. Well, first, I'm glad that we're all in this space, because we're saying similar things. Whenever we have a forum, a lot of times there are these opposing views where we have to agree to disagree. So I feel really good because we're in the same space, talking around the same elements that move the needle, for lack of a better term. Now, my piece with the elephant in the room is personal responsibility. And it comes from the top, it comes from the side, and from the bottom. And I'll start with this. To be a good leader, you have to be personally responsible, because you have to come into the game, okay? And I've led a group of 70 or 80 people. And I had always looked at it from the standpoint when I had bad leaders. I've been in the corporate world for 30 years. I've had great leaders, and I've had some not so great leaders. And during the time before I actually put in a position where I was directly responsible for someone's career, I said, I'm going to take every bad experience that I had and make sure that I don't repeat it. And that was just something that I learned from my dad, who was an educator, who basically had really positive impact. And I listened to everything, at least when I became an adult, of what he tried to impress upon me. Lead by example. Don't ever show any bias. Have the same respect for people across the board. That's easier said than done, but I always tried to make it a point where, from a leadership standpoint, I knew a little bit about someone that reported to me. I don't have to know their personal business, but if I just knew what they were going through, because if you make that time to understand what people are going through, you might be more inclined to understand if there's some changes in performance, or if there are some personal issues that you could kind of relate to it. You know what I mean? So that personal responsibility is huge in terms of getting the most out of people. Treat people the way they want to be treated, not having favorites. I've experienced it with some of my peers that were leaders. They had people that they liked just because they went out with them, or they liked people because maybe they were the same gender or even the same ethnicity. I'll call it out. That doesn't have a place in ecosystem of equity or parity when you're leading somebody, because I've always said people see it. People see what we can't see. I had an uncanny ability to determine whether or not the people in my group weren't happy with decisions were made. I always tried to create an environment where we can agree to disagree, and you can come to me as long as you're respectful, and we can talk about anything. At the end of the day, it may not change it, but I want you to be empowered enough to feel as though it's not an autocracy. At the end of the day, if it has to be, that's what it will become. But I always wanted to create, from a leadership standpoint, that feeling that you could say what you wanted to say as long as it wasn't disrespectful or unprofessional, and that together we all benefited from the fruit of our labor. Now, as far as leadership, what we also had to learn is being capable of being what they call a servant leader. You have to go to bat for your people. You know, I understand the mechanics of an organization, and I would always be very upfront. I don't know if I'm going to be able to win this fight, but I'm going to go to bat for you if I think that that is necessary for us to get a point across. I understand we're not going to win every battle, but in the war, we may get these small things, and you have to really have that, I'll say that ability to be honest with yourself and be, even, dare I say, self-deprecating, so people don't think you buy into your own nonsense. A leader is just a term. I don't I'm not an elitist, but you got managers at Burger King. Not saying that's a bad thing, but that doesn't mean that they're any better than any of the people that make that team together. And I think that always gets lost inevitably with a lot of leaders. I contend that in corporate America today, the reason there's a great resignation, that's not because people have unlimited amounts of money. It's because during COVID, what occurred is people have finally figured out that they've got to do what's right for them. And that's a direct correlation to, dare I say, the weak middle management that's inherent in all of these structures. That's why people becoming their own boss. That's why they're looking at entrepreneurial opportunity. I always used to tell people, and I would say this to my peers, you're not a good manager. I'm not saying that because your people hate you. I'm saying because you're not meeting them halfway. We're not here to be liked. I remember a story my old man told me many years ago. I had the opportunity to go to Eaton Hall Prep from New Jersey, which is a prestigious school. And I was a little bit nervous. I mean, the straight A's didn't matter because I could do the work. I just was worried about, being the only, the cherry in the bowl of buttermilk, for lack of a better term. And he said, you know what? Let me explain something to you. You're not there to be liked. He says, if you meet friends and you're accepted, that's just the benefit. But your primary purpose for being put in that environment is to get the benefits, everything that offer. And I think that we have to look at that, whatever we do. Sometimes I'm not going to work to make friends. I'm there to make a living, because if I could do it a different way, I wouldn't be there. So when we take that foundational step and go there with the purpose of mastering what we do, a lot of times people look at a job as just an opportunity to go somewhere and get paid. But for it to work for you, you have to really, it's your own business, or if you're working for somebody, you've got to find the areas that make you happy. Stefania, firsthand, since we're married, about a year ago, I left a job that I really loved. I got to travel the world, it was a lot of work. It was 18-hour work days, but I loved the job. But you know what happened? It wasn't the job, it was the management. And I became not too happy with the job. And one of the things I've even had to share with my trough is that when that job begins to affect your outside preferences, your happiness, you have to make a change. There's also something I've learned through life experience. Don't let decisions be made for you, because 90% of decisions that are made for you are ones that you don't want or you didn't see coming. And that's something that I had to learn. So that moment that you don't feel good, you have to take that personal responsibility to make changes that make you happy. So I split from that particular role. I did it, it was a lateral move. And I said, you know what? If I stay what I'm doing, I get all of these perks, but at the end of the day, I'm coming home or I'm logging off the end of the day and I'm not happy. I owed it to myself to take a leap of faith, do something totally different that I wasn't had any experience in. And guess what? After 1 year, nailed it. I'm the go-to guy. And that's not bragging. It's just putting the same amount of enthusiasm, intellectual curiosity, and determination to get the job done. I'm basically my manager's right hand. They know now that they can't get it done without my input. And guess what? I don't look at that as a bad thing. That's the best thing in the world. Know as much as your leader. And she's a good leader because she accepts that. Do you know that 90% of the times if you have a leader and you know as much as they do, they get a little bit envious, or they get insecure, and they make you do non-value activities so that they can keep you running around the habit trail? That's what happens. So from a leadership thing, and that's why I've even told my leader, I said, this is the best case scenario, because we were once peers. And she knew that I said, well, I could stop working theoretically for somebody and work myself, but this is free money as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? And we have a very good relationship. So I think the leadership thing is all about personal responsibility, and the cuss out for 2022 is making sure that we hold ourselves accountable for the standards that we have.
So Darren made a point about being unhappy and what it took for him to make changes in from a business standpoint, from his career standpoint, things of that nature. And I've experienced that. We'll talk about it at some other point. I want to go to Onika and Sharice, because you guys have your own, your own businesses, right? And with that, you are the leaders, right? You're leader of your, your development, your growth, your businesses, and the people that you work with, whether you have staff or you don't have staff, right? So, what are some of the things that you feel needs to be called out, and those maybe you've seen other people not operate in a manner they should, and in those spaces, or maybe there's people within your circle that you had to say, look, like that's not cool. Like, let's stop. Let's just keep it moving and do the right thing. So I want to kind of quickly go to Nika and then Sharice. I want you to kind of give your perspective, and then we'll go to Bruce as well. So Nika, you talk to us.
Well, in my definition, a leader listens and observes. What do I mean by observe? Because a good leader needs to know who are the weakest team member and who are the strongest team member. The weak team member, the leader is supposed to work with that team member, bring them up to par. Most strong team members will always have type of opinion, or they'll let you know what needs to be changed. Time what I noticed with some leaders, they don't listen. And if they do listen, they take the idea and don't give that particular team member credit, or give your team credit for it.
Yep.
Now, that leader, team look at you funny. And now they don't believe in you anymore. So they start watching, and now your leadership chain start to break.
Truth.
They start to break. So as a leader, what I does, I help. I do everything. I try to do everything. If I know it's bad, because that's what you have teammates for. But if I see my teammates is lacking of something, or my employees, I will call them. I will go out in the field and show them, or do certain things with them. And I'm like, okay, this is what a leader does, because you have to lead by example. That's why I look at a leader. You showing me, you teaching me. If you can't teach me or you can't show me, how could you call yourself a leader? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I want to jump in 1 second, Monica. What I want to say to that is, we first started out as the ladies' group, right? And that actually broke up, right? But what I say to that is, the person went on and they moved on and they grew from it, right? And they actually started their own thing. So my thing is, if it helped you, and then now you see where you can go and what your growth is and what you do, by all means, move on, do your thing. So it was a growth, maybe it was a growth spurt for that person and they moved on. So you let them go and do what they got to do. So sometimes telling people what you have or whatever, it's okay, because they're not going to always do it the way you do it, but we can't be afraid to share what we know, because we think somebody's going to take it, because somebody's always going to do what you're doing, because not everybody have original ideas, right? So they're always going to try to recreate what you're doing. And it's okay, because that just shows growth, and then actually it will inspire you to do even better, because it's like, wow, okay, I inspired someone else to move on and do something else. So sometimes you can't be afraid as a leader or anything that somebody else says, you know what, I think I could do it better than her, so I'm gonna break off and I'm gonna do something else. By all means, go for it. But you can't always be afraid, because a lot of times you hold in what you're capable of doing, because you don't want nobody else to take it. Maybe it wasn't for you, maybe it was for somebody else.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
That's exactly, I think, the other piece, and Sharice, will come to you, because again, having your own business, and being a leader of your own, and some of the things that you've seen through the course of your career and what you've done, not everybody's going to do things exactly like you do it. You can teach, you can mold, you can develop people or help develop people. I'll say help, because they have to want it, right, to develop. You can just show them but they're not always going to be exactly your replica. they will have differences that are unique to themselves as well. And to your point, Tiffany, it's okay to share. Now, you know, I know I hear people, well, they stole my idea and this, and that. Yeah, those things, that's kind of, you know, we need to, that's something that I would cuss out. Don't steal ideas. You know, like use what I've given you, right? Don't steal. And that's where we have to be careful what we share as well. But, you know, sharing to help develop others or to teach others or to help them embrace who they are from their own, you know, and create their own experiences is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to go to Sharice because, again, I think you've had your own experiences within your own business that you want to kind of speak on as well. So let's talk about that elephant in the room.
Okay. I'm gonna add to a few points that a couple of you guys said. The first one is that a lot of times we encounter people or work with people in our businesses, at our jobs, that are actually our lesson, that are sent for us to be pushed to the next level.
Yes.
Because if they didn't come along, we probably would have stayed stagnant or even failed where we were at because we reached the ceiling. So, you know, even though it's like you want to cry, you want to pull your hair out, and theirs too, you got to thank them for coming along, because without what they did, it wouldn't have pushed you to where you are now, you know, and you wouldn't have seen your potential. So that's a major factor when it comes to dealing with people and their personalities when you're in business. And, you know, people will try to copy what you do, but guess what? What's for you is for you. And, you know, and what's for them is for them. And it might be the same, but it's not going to have the same flavor. It's not going to have the same salsa, same spice. It's not going to have the same rico for the guys. You know, it's not going to be the same. So just do your thing and rock on.
Yep.
That's what I got to say to that. The other part of leadership I want to add to what Darren was saying is that as a leader, people are looking for titles, okay? That they want to be doctor this and manager of this and CEO that, and nobody has done the internal work. Nobody cleaned out this gunk and crap they got inside of them. So they start these businesses, and then this bad attitude comes out, these poor business practices come out, they have bad communication skills, you know, all of this stuff starts to come out, and then they wonder what's wrong. What's wrong is you didn't do the work. So now everything around you is a mess. You know, 2020 going into 2021, my brother passed away. I had to completely shut myself down. Like, emotionally, I was going through trauma. I was going through my own personal stuff with my divorce, you know, and it's not anything that you broadcast to the world, but you got to go inwards and know that I got to get this stuff out of me. And Bruce would know, he's a coach. You need a coach. I don't care what type of business, what type of management, whatever you're doing, you need a coach to help you get there. I had a business coach, I had a therapist, and I had a grief counselor. I saw each one of those 3 times a week. I mean, 1 time a week. So that was 3 appointments that I was speaking to, because you have to have the team. And, you know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, the child only just grows. You know, we attain more knowledge. So it still takes that village for us to be successful. And if we don't reach out to those people who have the expertise and have the knowledge, we're never going to grow. And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because I'm in the wrong room if that's the case, because I need to learn. Right. What you do to get to this level? Are you willing to share? You know, let's lock arms and be able to move forward. But other than that, these people with this coming to steal, and this is another thing. When you're in business, and we're learning this as we evolve and grow, we need to have non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. You know, we need to have contracts. We need to have non-competes. We need to have all of that, because you just can't trust people to do the right thing, especially when they got a lot of head trash going on.
That, oh my God, Sharice. From a business aspect, you hit the nail on the head. you hit the nail on the head when we talk about stealing ideas or stealing concepts or whatever the case may be. These are things that people don't even think about.
No.
When they're building their own businesses and their practices or whatever have you. And that is very important. So I'm thank you for bringing that up, because I don't think a lot of people think about that. People don't.
No, they don't. You know, they don't. And I'm not going to get to like
Darren's raising his hand.
Marriage thing real quick. I'm going to say this. You know, even like people see, we talked about prenups on previous shows, and they think it's a bad thing. It's not really a bad thing, because it can spell out all the stuff that you need later on. God forbid something happens that you didn't even think of. You know, how are things going to be worked out? So when it gets to that point, you're not stressed out. You're not worrying how things are going to happen. The conversation doesn't have to be had, because we already had it when all the emotions are involved. So we have to learn that, and this was a hard lesson that I learned. If it's not in black and white, then none of it matters. Yeah.
Good point. I'll go to Bruce real quick, because as a coach, you brought in the coach aspect, right? And obviously with him being a coach and his experiences throughout, his career and teaching and things of that nature, I'm sure he's got quite a bit he can add from that. And Darren, I know I think you were raising your hand to make a point. We'll come back to you on that as well, because I'm sure it's something that our lovely She-Wealth hit the nail on the head on that you want to elaborate on. Bruce, what you got for us?
Yeah, I think it's this right here is outstanding. Like Darren said, this is a big mixing bowl, and if you put everything together, it's coming out with a great product. Simply to me, there is no difference between the business world, coaching, athletics, teaching. There isn't. You have to have a leader, and the leader is a person who is adaptable, a leader who is strong, a person who is willing to learn, willing to listen, and like Darren said, and Doris, and go to bat for your people. I mean, I've worked for coaches. I've been a head coach on numerous occasions, and I've worked for head coaches that have been threatened by me and who have embraced me and taught me. So I think it's the whole entire thing. It's you got to put your ego on the shelf as a leader. It's not about I'm bigger or better than you are, or I have a title and you don't have a title. I mean, I've worked for principals and who have been outstanding, and I've worked for principals who have been garbage. And I have the same degrees they have, but I just chose not to go that route. So don't come to me just because you're in a leadership position and try to belittle me. It's not going to happen. So I think to be an effective leader is all of those. Obviously from an athletic standpoint, I went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide during the national championship game. Again, tomorrow night, Nick Saban, arguably the best head coach in college football ever. He has a process. It's called the process. He has a progression on how he teaches his kids. His assistant coaches, 12 of them are now head coaches at other major universities. They've learned from him. I mean, arguably, he is a leader. He's a winner. And I think that we all are that inside of us if we just take that ego sometime and just drop it. Humble yourself. Humility makes a great leader. You're the same even keel whether you win or you lose. I walk with my head high. If my kid wins a national championship, great job. It worked out. Thank you. If he doesn't or she doesn't, great job. Let's work on getting there the next time. Everybody wants to be a champion. Everybody wants to be in charge, but nobody wants to take the steps to get there.
Yes.
They want to exactly jump there. They don't want to learn through the curve. And that's the bottom line of it all. Talking about work, I do have to run. This has been amazing. I appreciate y'all, the sisterhood.
Great show.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Bruce.
You know how we are. And I will talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Bruce. The Brothaship. We'll see you on the next show.
Peace out.
Man, Bruce said something that I've been writing words down, key words down, as we were kind of going through this conversation. And humble was one that came to mind when it came to leadership, being humble. And I love that Bruce actually brought that in, because that is one element that, once again, when we think about leadership, is also that humbleness. And to his point, doing the work. It's not about the title. It's not about the title, because at the end of the day, titles are what they are, right? You could put that plaque on the wall, you can put your signature, whatever. Now you earn that. Don't get it twisted. We go educate ourselves, we go to school, we pay a whole hell of a lot of money. Lord knows I want to cuss out my school loans because I'm still paying them. All right. I'm 48 years old, shouldn't have to be paid a school loan still. But anyway, my whole point is, and I know everybody wants to cuss out school loans. But the whole, you deserve that, yes, but there's work that comes after that education, right? Or work that comes to get to that level. So some of us forget that, and we think we got the title, that's it, we're just the end all be all. That doesn't work out that way. I'm gonna cuss that out right now, because you still got to work, still got to put the work in. Darren, I know you were waiting for it. I know our lovely Sharice, she hit on some things that triggered your mind. Tell us what you got for us. Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, Nika, we know you got some more stuff there to say too.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead. And we got Onika too.
Okay, no, I was just gonna. No, I just want to say the only thing, and I think I heard it. I tried to listen, and like you said, take little notes. But it's listening. We have the unique opportunity, all of us, to listen, because I can tell you without any hesitation that I was one of the know-it-alls. Because if I looked on paper, you could argue that I probably did know a lot. But sometimes that exempts us in our own minds from the ability to effectively listen. You can't be a good leader, or you can't be a good doer if you don't listen. Because if you don't hear the message or what's expected clearly, and you start putting your own little spin or interpretation of it, you're more inclined not to meet those expectations. And many times I've had to tell people on that other side of the room the difference between being an okay appraisal or a raise or a promotion versus getting it. That difference is because of listening or lack thereof. So I think, Sharice, you hit it on the head. That listening capability takes us a lot of where we need to go, or where we can be in terms of fulfilling our potential. And I've learned that, and I'm every day I'm trying to learn. But that listening, that ability to listen, you don't have to necessarily agree, but you have to listen and let the message resonate for what it's worth, and then take the appropriate actions that are required. There's a difference between constructive criticism, and there's a difference between criticisms that to be haterade or to keep you in that stagnant place. And the ability to differentiate between those types of feedback is going to be how you respond and effectively perform.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I just want to say that we have a couple of people in the chat room. We have somebody from Ghana. We have somebody as a
Hi, Tiffany from Ghana.
Tiffany,
she's in there. Is that Tiffany? And then I see somebody. We have Roberta.
Hi, Tiffany, moms. Roberta, how you doing?
It just says Facebook user, but it says 2 ears, 1 mouth, and
listen twice as much.
So they were saying, repeating what Darren said. Roberta, if we can all see the chat room. She wrote a long paragraph in it, so if we can all.
I actually like to read that, because honestly, this is an experience that I think many of us probably encountered. She says in business, I'll just try to. She was remember being in business meetings where people showed up with nothing to report but try to tear up the project, sabotaging. She did her homework, brought in a type report, brought a sense of satisfaction for having done her task, and got raises. But people would get upset, mean, and climb the ladder. Used to feel hurt. Now I know they were my lessons. The sabotager will keep coming during the years, goes with the territory. It's interesting that she made that point, because I think, and I'll just lend quickly my experience 2 years ago. I think it's about 2 years ago. I was moved into a position with another leader who I used to mentor, by the way. And what I realized is, a lot of people would talk about this leader and say, she was she, had favorites and, whatever. So, experiences, other people's experience, you take it with a grain of salt, but you're aware, right? And then I started seeing how it was affecting me personally, the job that I was doing and how I wasn't getting the support that I needed from her. And it really put me in a bad place, real bad place. And it took my husband one day said to me, "You are not happy. You are a miserable person." Like, called me out and said, like, "You are just, every day you have that misery about you. Like, you're not happy. You're working 18 hours a day. You're trying to give your all. You do everything you can, to just get through what you need to get through. And you're allowing this leader, incompetent leader, to create such a feeling of despair and anger and frustration about you, when you could just move on and change what you're doing." And it took for me to make that change, because I was allowing someone who knew I was a good leader and worked very hard. I busted my butt, and I was allowing her to destroy me personally, mentally, emotionally, physically, all the elements. I stopped doing things that I love to do because I was trying to prove so much, when all I needed to do is just not allow this person to take a hold of me. And, so with that said, I mean, it's these people who are in these positions, you have to, the haterade or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't even constructive criticism. It was like ignoring altogether. Like, they don't even want to acknowledge your presence. That right there is not constructive leadership. It is not an area that, if you feel you're in a position where that's hurting you emotionally, physically, and all these other elements, it's time for you to just be gone.
Cuss them out.
You cuss them out and be gone. It's time to go. And you know what's crazy? And I'm going to tell you this. You know what's crazy? I started a new position in March with a new client account, and I got rave reviews the end of this year. I mean, rave reviews from this client of how well I did, and my management team. And I kept saying to myself, it wasn't me, because I started thinking it was me, that I was the problem. And yes, I have opportunity, don't get me wrong, but at the same token, I know my worth ethic, and I know what I put into my work. And I know I'm 110% in it, and everything that I put myself into. Never allow someone to destroy you to the point where you are destroying you are feeling like you're not worthy of what it is that you put in your work and your tears and your all that you put into everything. Never allow somebody to take from you what you put years of experience, blood, sweat, and tears in. Never allow anybody to do that to you. Ooh, I'm so hot about that. She got the cuss out. I'm just saying. Let's move on.
What you got, Sharice? What you got?
That goes for relationships too. Like we for me, business like it's the principles are the same. Like Bruce said, there's really no line, because the principles stand. And a lot of times when you get into relationships and the person that you're in a relationship with doesn't want to change, you're evolving and you're doing different things, and you've had the conversation over and over and over, and it's just like, and
yeah,
the cussing starts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you lose yourself in the interim, and it's so not worth it, because it takes so much time for you to get that person or to find out who that person or who you really are.
Sharice, I agree with you there, because I also found myself in 2021 losing myself trying to help other people do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
In 2022, I was like, I got to regain and do everything that I was doing for me, so that I can again do what I need to do to move forward. So I think in 2022, Stefania said, it's all about you, or it's all about everybody. It's about you and doing what you need to do for yourself. So I was like, well, I got to go back to my keto. I got to go back to, because I was telling everybody else, okay, you could do this, how you eat it, whatever. But in the meantime, I wasn't focusing on me because I was focusing on everything else. So 2022, I was like, nope. Let's do our show, but we're gonna, back off of some of the stuff that we're doing so that we can regroup and do everything we need to do. And it's not always about degrees. Yes, I may have one, right? However, I started in hotel management when I was 21. Right. So when you say work ethics and everything, by the time I left there, I was 25. I was managing a team of 20. I was running the business center and their mail room at the Grand Hyatt Hotel and the Sheraton New York Hotel in New York City. I did that for a long time. Okay, I was speaking in corporate rooms, to general managers, and it's all about your work ethics and what you're doing and knowing what you're doing. A lot of the times, I was doing scheduling, I was doing everybody's stuff. A lot of the times, what I was doing, people was like, "Oh my God, what you would?" But at the end, I still have people on my page now who have contacted me and said, "You know what? Thank you. I didn't know what I had until I got another person."
And that's what happens.
The difference.
Yep, that's what happens. And I posted this a few days ago. Mama C commented, "You're enough without the fluff." And I don't think a lot of people understood what that post meant. But for me, what it meant was like I was waiting to step into this new phase, but I was waiting for this exam to, so I can get this paper. And I'm like, I don't need that paper. I'm gonna do because I'm already licensed. I know the information. I have the experience. Just get to it. You have everything inside of you to be able to take it to the next level. And if you don't have the tools you need, like we said before, pick up a book, reach out to someone who does have it. You know what I'm saying? And create that mastermind principle, because if not, you will start to sink. And I ain't sinking. It's like sink or swim. I'm swimming, girl, like Dory said to Nemo. Swim, just keep swimming, keep swimming.
That's right, keep swimming.
It's all about the people around you. It's all about the people around you and your circle. Again, like we say, know your tribe and who raised you, because you pick up on everything. I guess I'm going with my background, being around the corporate setting, being around that type of environment has helped me to grow on so many levels that I can switch up from ghetto to orangutan. Whatever you want, I'm gonna give it to you.
Hello.
However you need it, I'm gonna give it to you.
Hello. Orangutan? That's what you said, orangutan?
You can go corporate if you need it.
Don't let the license plate fool you.
Whichever way you need it, I'm gonna give it to you. And some people don't understand that.
Yeah. I saw something that Jane wrote. I have a bachelor, and I've heard her say this before, and I love it.
Yes.
I have a bachelor's degree in listening, a master's in intelligence, and a PhD in life, in a lifetime, and still learning. That is really what matters in life, right? You have to be able to listen, to master intelligence, and have a PhD in lifetime and learning and experiences. Those are the things. And, I go back to back in the day in jobs, even in corporate America, you really didn't necessarily have to have a degree. You just had to have experience to be in specific roles. Now, all of a sudden, it's like if you don't have an associate's or even a bachelor's now, sometimes even a master's, you can't even get into the corporate game, which is crazy because I didn't actually have that when I started corporate America. I moved my way up through, again, educating myself and getting those because life happened and I didn't finish college when I left high school. So I did it in the corporate environment, but I was lucky to get in before it was a necessary need. And I'll tell you, you might be educated sometimes, but if you're not educated with experience, that degree is not doing nothing for you.
Yeah. Well, let me add some perspective to that because I think as a son of an educator, I think that this whole thing around college was created on an antiquated system of meritocracy. So you could tell people that they weren't ready for corporate America if they didn't have a degree. So you had a bunch of people. I'm a man of a certain age where it was, I was lucky to go to one of the best business schools that folks didn't even know about at Florida A&M at the time, because that's where they were getting people that were super smart, national merit scholars, but because it was a quote unquote HBCU, that's where they were going to get the talent. I just happened to, I got a call and they said, hey, come down here, we'll pay for you to go to school. And I was going to pay to go to Florida an astronomical amount. So my point is simply, once more people started getting into getting the degrees, then it changed a little bit. So now what's happening, we talk about this great resignation. We keep hearing, and we have to be very clear and conscious of the information that we're getting as we process. Everybody's talking about the great resignation. What they're not telling you is that automation is also taking a lot of these jobs away as well, because they don't need you. I used to do that. I used to go to places. We'd say there's 100 people here. How can you make it so that we only have 50 people?
Right.
And what we do is, you think about social media, how it's being used to manipulate your information, to understand preferences and things that you think you like. That's how these news feeds are built through algorithms. The same thing is happening on the flip side to make these companies money. And we need to be cognizant of that and the impact of it. And more importantly, tell our children that it's okay to like the TikToks and get the likes, but you have to understand how that works if you want to be a part of the new millennium in terms of getting a job, or understanding how they work for you if you decide to go into business for yourself. I just had to get that out there.
That is so true. I got to add one thing to that, for instance, like for my son. He's homeschooling now. And when it comes to the business, I has him does everything with me. He's right here. I show him everything. He speaks Spanish. So like I told him, I said, the Spanish side of the company is yours. So when we have Spanish-speaking clients call, he's 10 years old. That's who speak to all the Spanish-speaking clients. He translates. He does everything. Now, I'm about to put him on Mandarin, because my goal for him, by the time he reach 15, 16, he should be speaking 3 foreign language fluent. So he speaks Spanish. It's going to be Mandarin, because as you see, the Chinese controls everything. And then he could choose either Russian or German. And that's what I'm starting to prepare him. I'm teaching him the value of money. We go to the stores. He works and he gets paid, and he spends his own money to buy whatever he want to buy. He don't come and ask us for anything. He spends it so he knows. Now he's cheap. He don't want to buy certain things because you see how expensive it is. So now I'm teaching him the value of money. I'm teaching him the business, the different parts of business. So by the time he reaches a certain age, I'm not working. He's going to be 15, 16. He should be good. Running everything that we got doing now. You got to teach them young.
That's good.
It's really
all about planning.
Yes.
It is. And that's actually a good lesson. That I think it's also good to hear that. Because there are a lot of parents that, they have not changed with the times, right? They're on the old, way of how life is, and these kids nowadays, and think about it, even college, like with COVID, I mean, school systems and colleges, like they're going to remote, or they're not having classes, or whatever the case may be. And you got to start teaching your kids now the value of $1. We talked about that many years ago, teaching children the value of $1. We need to come back to that. We need to teach them how how to be productive in life. And, I'll be honest with you, I feel entrepreneurship also, because with these companies and with things changing in corporate America and these jobs, there's always going to have to be something out there, but owning your own, there's nothing like it. Yes, it's hard. Right. Yes, it takes experience. It takes hours,
nights.
Nights. I mean, it's hard, but you know what? That hard work pays off down the road. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to teach. Go ahead, Darren.
No, and I was going to say, I think, Nico, what I think is really so good about it is that, a lot of these infrastructures were created for everybody to get around, but that's changed. So that ownership that you're taking and showing to your kids, I can remember, and this probably will give you an idea of how long I've been around, but I can remember they used to have the banks come. I was in the 3rd grade. That's when I started my first bank account, because they sent the bank representative so you could start your own account. That's how I learned, because I said, "Ma, I want to get my own account." And she was like, "Okay, well," and then my dad, he was like, "Well, then you need to get a job, because you can have an account, but if you don't know how to get money." I mean, that was out there, but now, that doesn't exist, at least in my understanding. So now as parents are actually showing these youngsters that, and that's going to be well for them. I really believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I think my mom's was the first person when it comes to business. I think we had a bank account. I'm from the Caribbean, Trinidad. At the age of 6 or probably younger, my mom started teaching us about money and savings. Her background, I'm going to let you know, my family background is from India, right? My mom's side of family. So they have a thing as they're cheap. They're always saving every penny. And my mom used to always tell me, save your money, save your money, save your money. So she introduced us, my sisters, my brother, and them about saving money from a very early age and the importance of money. But your parents cannot make a child mind up. I did what I did, but if I had saved my money, like when she was telling me, I would have been a billionaire right now. I want to spend money reckless, but it's not going to happen to him, because now what I learned and what my experience is not my mistakes, is not going to be his mistakes. So it's going to be a little different when it comes to money. I know my mother is watching right now. Hi, Ma, not nice, Jackie. That's my mother, yeah.
Hi, everybody who's out
Hello.
here. So I know we're running down to like the last 10 minutes or less, and I love this dialogue. I love that how we started 2022. I think it's great dialogue, it's great conversation, great topic. I know we talked about the elephants in the room and the cuss out, and we make it a little fun and entertaining. But there is truth in everything that we say, right? I mean, again, truth is the light and is power. Some of the things I've heard, again, ownership, accountability, humbleism, leadership, without even necessarily having a so-called title, and experiences that we've all encountered in life. And it's important that I see some of the comments here, and I just want to quickly just go through a couple comments, because I want to make sure those that are out there in the Sistahship realm here, we get some of those out before time runs out. This is from Joan Collier. Great to see you, Charisse. Hope we have you back again real soon. There's someone who stated, a Facebook user that stated that they've been paying bills since they were about 12. They've been working since about 10. Self-employment their whole life, pay for all their degrees.
That's
However,
Tiffany Rowe.
that's Tiffany.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I see Facebook user. I can't tell. However, with God's grace, I was blessed to constantly worked and build my life. Choose wisely who you allow in your intimate space. Frequency of people near you is a huge part of your success, and I totally agree with that. It is the people around you that either are going to bless you or are going to, destroy you. So it's all in how who you allow in that space to either be one or the other, right? Because again, we've got those balances going on. But I want to quickly go around the room because I want to get everybody's last words, either the thoughts of what you heard today or any last words that you have. Again, 2022 is all about you. I'm going to say, hey, beautiful, you can do amazing things in 2022. I had to wear that because I had to make sure my Sistahship was getting that vibe, all that vibe from here, okay? So with that said, I'm going to go around the room here. We're going to start with the Brothaship, Darren Johnson. Your thoughts, your last words?
Thoughts, wonderful dialogue. I'm glad to be a part of the Brothaship and the Sistahship arm of this whole community. That's my words. My thoughts for 2022, and I had to share this with the universe before the show. Pray for truth, because again, we can all do what we have to do and what we want to do to make this a more perfect union, to make this a better place of where we reside. When I say that, I mean the planet. But at the end of the day, we have to be cognizant of the risks that are inherent. You know, we live in a time and people will try to actually shape a narrative. And I think because man has, to a certain extent, given up on itself, we have to pray for truth from the higher power that we subscribe.
Nice. Let's go to Sharice, Miss She Wealth.
It was great to be back on with you guys today. Awesome dialogue and conversation. I just want to hit real quick on a comment that Mama C said, that kids really follow their parents' guidance from day one, but they eventually come back once they experience the truth of their parents' guidance. That is a character flaw of American society, because a lot of other cultures do not allow their children to make decisions on their own and or take on responsibilities without consulting the elders. And when they do that, they avoid so much turmoil and conflict in their lives, and they waste less time. Back to Onika's point. So if we can collectively bring our village back so that our children have a place that they feel safe and secure, and maybe if it's not their direct parents, maybe it's an auntie or an uncle, that they can provide them sound advice and not this do you and all of this other type of sense that has got us. That would be great. So that's another mission, an assignment that we're embarking on. So thank you guys so much. It was great to be here today.
Sharice, we are happy to have you back on. Onika, our girl Onika, what you got for us?
Great show. Great show. I really love it. Thank you for inviting me. You know, one of the things that I really want to dwell on is protect your peace. I don't care who it is. It could be Donald Trump come and talk to you. I know none of y'all don't like him. It doesn't matter. Protect your peace. Protect your peace. And remember, we have little ones that watching us. So make sure and be the role model for them before anything else. It should not be no superstar, no whoever it is. You should be the first role model in your child life. That's all. My mother was mine.
That's definitely a good one. Be careful, be mindful. I think our lovely Lady Wisdom says that all the time. Be mindful. Miss Co Bling, the one who started this whole cuss out.
Bling, bling.
What you got for us?
I'm gonna still be posting some cuss out on Facebook. Y'all know that. But Sharice, what you said, bringing it back to the village, I love that. I had a neighbor yesterday that came over. She came over and she was venting because we had some kids in the neighborhood who had turned on the water, and she said, well, I don't know if I should go to the neighbor's house because you know how people are these days, and those kids are monsters. We shouldn't feel like we can't go to the neighbor's house and tell them about their kids who just turned on the water. So if we can get back to the village, that would be wonderful. But my saying is, drink water, mind your business, and stay focused on your health for 2022, and just do you.
I'm drinking my water to that, and then I have my last words for the group here. Again, I want to thank everybody who came on today. Obviously, Bruce had to leave, and Doris, and hopefully we can get them back on. Bruce will be part of the Brothaship every first Sunday of the month. Make sure you check them out on the Sistahship Network. I want to give a shout out to our Sistahship Network, Tiffany Rowe. She's over there out in Ghana. I want to give a shout out to Lady Wisdom, to Kalima, Lady K, Spicy, Jane, who's been in the chat room. I can't go without saying once again, happy birthday to Mama C, the founder and the ultimate oracle, sitting up in the room as well, who has joined us. Happy blessed birthday. 2022 is all about you. Again, a shout out to Bruce, to Bay, and to Darren,
Jerry,
Onika, Sherry. Yeah, I said Lady Wisdom. Did I catch her? Did I not catch her?
Jerry, and Jerry.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Jerry. I misunderstood that one. Listening. Jerry, we love you. We know you're going through some trials and tribulations. We love you. We're here for you. The Sistahship and the Brothaship, we're all here for you. And we give you blessings upon blessings for 2022, healing and love from all of us. Have a happy, blessed, peaceful, and safe New Year's to all of you and your family. 2022, once again, is all about you. We want to thank you all for joining us here on the Sistahship Network, where we are fire every single Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your girl, Steph Fire. Love y'all. Thank you for joining today on The Elephant in the Room, The Cuss Out.
The cuss out.
Hashtag. Hashtag Steph Fire. Hashtag Copeland.
Bye-bye.
Hashtag She Will. We're
On a Sistahship, come with us, we on a Sistahship. Yeah, we on a Sistahship. Roll with us, we on a Sistahship. Sistahship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Sistahship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this, talk about that, talk about faith, talk about facts. Let's talk about living, talk about giving.